Steve Weintraub. I do a website called Collider. None of you guys are here. I'm editor-in-chief of Collider. None of you guys are here to see me. Ladies and gentlemen, Simon Pegg. Woo! How are you doing, sir?
It's good to see you, Steve.
True story, I found out I was moderating how many minutes ago?
3.
Exactly. So I'm very prepared for today. And by very prepared, I mean not even a little. So here we go. Just to let everybody know, we're going to be opening it up to the audience to ask questions. So start thinking about questions. I think there's going to be a microphone. Is there going to be a microphone? I'm going to say yes. There should be a microphone. But anyway, so first of all, welcome to Boston.
Hello, Boston.
You've been to cons all over the world. How many times have you been to Boston?
We came to Boston on the Shaun of the Dead press tour, the Hot Fuzz press tour, the World's End press tour. And we always had great screenings in the Brattle Theatre here.
In general,
and, the audiences were always great. And yeah, but the first time I came to Boston was in 1994.
I'll say here.
Who remembers that year?
Once they start lining up, you could go line up.
You guys were famous, I believe, on Shaun of the Dead tour for flushing cakes down toilets.
I was on the Hot Fuzz tour.
I'm sorry, it was the Hot Fuzz tour. Did you destroy a toilet in Boston with a cake?
It was Nick's thing, flushing cakes. It was his birthday when we were doing the Hot Fuzz press tour, and people kept giving him birthday cakes. And because we didn't really have time to eat a whole cake in every town, Nick would flush the cake down the toilet to test the effectiveness of the American toilet flush system. And I can tell you, your toilets will flush any fucking thing.
Someone asked that before.
Was thinking about that. Okay, listen. Obviously, everyone in this room is a fan of you and Nick and Edgar and the work that you guys have done together. And every time I see you guys, I ask the exact same question. Who is writing something and when for you guys to work together again?
Well, Edgar is currently, I was literally just speaking to him 5 minutes ago. He's editing The Running Man, which is going to be absolutely amazing.
Hell yeah.
As you probably know, it's not a remake of the Schwarzenegger film, it's more a kind of redo of the, based on the book. And as soon as he finishes that, it's out in November, we're going to carve out some time to write something new.
Is that for sure?
If we can get Nick out of his fucking Hagrid costume, yeah.
What's funny is I spoke to Nick about Nick is playing Hagrid in the new Harry Potter series, and they're filming season 1 and 2 back to back, which is crazy. But what was your thoughts when you found out he was cast? Because it's a huge role, and it's awesome for him.
I was so happy for him. I found out a long time before it got announced and was sworn to secrecy, which was so difficult because I did actually tell my wife. He made me promise not to tell anybody, but I had to tell my wife Maureen because I was just bubbling with everything. But yeah, I'm super happy. He looks incredible. He looks like Hagrid. I mean, you know, and I'm excited to see how it all turns out.
I'm not sure if you're a Harry Potter fan. You've been in like every major franchise, so is Harry Potter on the list in terms of, I wouldn't mind doing a role?
I actually do play the role of Phineas Nigellus Black in the Harry Potter game.
Yes, but that's not like a TV or movie. It's a game. By the way,
that's not very nice to video game.
I'm saying it's cool to be in the game, but it's cooler to be on the TV show.
I don't know. At this point in my career, I think I would hesitate to join another franchise. I've been in a lot of franchises, and as much as I love Star Trek and Mission and one of the others, Ice Age. They take up a lot of time. Ice Age is nice because I go into the voice booth and I do 5 or 6 sessions and that's it. But like the last 2 missions were 5 years, you know, and I felt like I was a prisoner.
It's really funny you say that because I spoke to Rebecca Ferguson, and I think one of the reasons, spoiler if you have not seen the Mission Impossible movies, she doesn't survive. She is, you know, and I think one of the reasons she didn't want to continue was the commitment of time, because Ian McQuarrie, the director, has talked about how long it it took to make these last two movies,
Yeah.
and how these movies are like your first thing in your contract, so you can't do something else.
You're basically on first call to Paramount, so, and you know, as much fun as they are, I think for Rebecca, and for me sometimes, you spend so much time sitting in your trailer waiting to work, and you just think, man, I could be doing something else right now. But, you know, I stuck it out until the end.
Yeah, and by the way, it's amazing to have a franchise that lasted that long.
Yeah.
That you joined in the third movie. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it has to be crazy for you as a fan of Tom Cruise to all of a sudden becoming like a huge part of this massive franchise that's with Tom, and now you can just like text him. Now you're just friends.
Yeah, I can text him now if you like. You know, the weirdest thing is that when I went to see the first Mission Impossible in '96, and I think about myself sitting in the cinema watching that scene when Jean Reno drops his knife and it spins down and it sticks into the console where Don Lowe's working, not knowing that one day, and I apologize if you haven't seen Final Reckoning yet, that knife would be used to perform an aspiration on me because my lung is collapsing. And it's such a bizarre thing to think that that was in my future when I think about seeing that film for the first time, that that actual knife would one day be inserted into me, if I can put it in such uncouth terms.
It came full circle.
If you raise, I'm curious, who has seen the most recent, the last Mission Impossible movie? I want to be specific since a lot of people have seen it. That scene is in the third act, and you need to act while you have been stabbed and you're super hurt. And so what is it like as an actor to play a scene where you need to like try to mimic what it would be like if you had a collapsed lung and you're almost dying, and you're also trying to give instructions to the people around you to like save the world?
Yeah, it was. We had a medic on set who was there to advise me of what would be happening to me as my lung was collapsing and as it became harder and harder to draw breath. And Pom was doing the surgery, so she was getting tutored on that. What I really love about the ending of the film, and without giving away any spoilers, is that if you take a single member out of the team, out of that situation, the whole thing would have fallen apart. So every single person, and that's about 6 of us by that point, they all have a job that they're doing. And it really, for me, summed up the whole kind of team nature of Mission Impossible. McHugh's great at that kind of, you know, that sort of circular writing.
So, I'm so curious about this. Tom Cruise he's inhuman. He is amazing. I have nothing but like, I'm so impressed by what he has done in these Mission Impossible movies, but some of these stunts are really dangerous and very serious. What is it like on set when you're watching a friend and Tom Cruise do these incredible stunts? Is there like a moment where, is there anybody who's just like, I love you, just in case? You know what I mean? Like, 'cause you never know.
It can be very nerve-wracking. I remember once Rebecca and I we were in New Zealand and we were just having a coffee, chatting with each other, and Tom was doing this scene in Fallout when he's hanging from the helicopter. And nobody had told us that he was going to fall onto the bag that was underneath the helicopter. And Rebecca and I were just sort of talking, and Tom was doing his thing, you know, you get used to it. And we both kind of looked up, and he fell, and we both kind of went, fuck! Tom's dead! But yeah, it gets kind of scary. It's nice when you see him sitting off set, and he's just in his chair, and he's taken off his face, and it's just the lizard. You know, it's great to see him in his normal, him seeing himself, you know?
I'm wearing my Arnold Schwarzenegger Total Recall shirt. Do you have a favorite Schwarzenegger movie?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably Predator. I do love Predator.
I love Stanley Kubrick. I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah. Same
question. Do you have a favorite Kubrick?
All of them.
That is the right answer.
I know, because you asked me in London and I said The Shining.
We've talked before, in case you didn't put that together.
I've known Steve for 20 years. We met at Comic-Con in 2004. I was there with Shaun of the Dead. Me and Edgar were there to kind of like try and get the buzz going. The film was coming out in November that year. And I met Steve and Jimmy Duvall and Greg Nicotero, and we I've seen Steve's Collider kind of go from an idea to an enterprise, and you've seen me go from working on the enterprise.
That is very true. My highlight of that convention was, and I think I remember this, we were walking around Comic-Con in San Diego, and I remember just going to the ATM, you had to go to the ATM or something, we were just casually walking around, no one really knew you, and no one gave a shit about me, because, you know what I mean, but that next year I started Collider, and it's been amazing to watch your growth, and Collider is at least 10 readers a month. So we're doing good. We're here at FanExpo Boston. A lot of people here collect things. Is there anything that you collect or has previously collected?
I collect action figures of me. When I was a kid, I used to collect Star Wars figures, as many people did. And I still remember the joy of like getting a new, you know, when the new series came out, when Empire came out, and the new ones came out, and then Return of the Jedi came out, and there were all this. And so when I finally got my Unkar Pluck action figure, it felt it's another one of those crazy moments, you know. But I do try and get all of the little effigies that come out.
Do they send them to you, or do you have to actually go buy them?
Sometimes I get sent them, sometimes I have to find them and buy them myself.
What is it like? Do you buy them online, or do you actually go to the store and you're like, yeah, it's me, I know?
I did go into a comic book shop in Cardiff, and I bought the Shaun of the Dead Funko Pop that came out with the game, the Fusion game, and the guy in the shop was really surprised that I was buying myself.
You've been in so many cool things, but there's going to be people out there who have never seen anything you've done. What is the first thing you'd like them watching, and why?
I would probably say Shaun of the Dead, just because it was mine and Edgar's first film together, and it started off, you know, a collaboration, a film collaboration. We'd worked together in television 3 times before.
You should plug Space.
Yeah, Not Least on Space, which is our first our sitcom, which was kind of all about people like us, you know. Tim, my character, worked in a comic book shop, and he was very much a fan. I charted his whole kind of relationship with Star Wars over the 2 series, because the first series came out in 1999, and then I went to New York to see The Phantom Menace, because 16 years I've been waiting for a new Star Wars film, and I hated it. So,
Can I ask you a question?
just in case you wouldn't can hear me,
And I'm not sure if you had the same reaction or was it in the theater. I remember watching Phantom Menace in the theater, and I was convinced there was something wrong with me. That I was not getting the movie, and the movie was obviously amazing. I just wasn't getting it, and I kept watching it to try to figure out why I wasn't getting it, and eventually realized, oh no, it's not me. It's meant for like little kids, whatever. At any point, did you think it was you not getting it, or immediately you know this is not good?
that's what I said when I broke up with Star Wars. I said, it's not you, it's me. I think I went to see it twice. I went back the next day to make sure, and then I went to see The Matrix, and that made me feel how I wanted to feel when I saw The Phantom Menace, you know? But I'd aged out a bit, I guess. Like Steve said, it was aimed at a different... I know it's having a wonderful resurgence, and I'm far more philosophical about it now. I feel like, you know, so what? It's just a fucking film. People love it, and love it with all the joy in your heart, you know? That's what being a fan is about. It's about accepting what you love and accepting things that other people love that you don't love. I think it's, you know, we're a community, and I think that's how a community exists.
Again, you've been in so many things. What shot or sequence has been the toughest for you to film, and why?
When I was shooting the car chase in Rogue Nation, I was so fucking terrified that I couldn't act. And Tom kept shouting at me, say more stuff, say more stuff. And I was just like, I can't speak. And also he would put on my seat heater when I wasn't looking, and we were in Casablanca in Morocco, so I'd be sitting in the jet getting all sweaty. And it was because he's a very cheeky boy. activate my seat heater. So then I started doing it to him. So when you watch Rogue Nation and you watch that car chase, all the time me and him are just having a seat heater fight. A little bit of meta in detail for you there.
I had no idea.
I actually got some black tape. He went for a piss, and I got some black tape, not in the car, I mean he left the car and he went.
I think he has any other core memory.
And, because he does, Tom Cruise pisses. There you go, you heard it here first. That'll be all over the internet tomorrow.
Boss method.
And I got some tape off one of the camera crew, and I put it over the lights on his seat heater so he couldn't see that it was on. And that was brilliant, that was brilliant.
What is the most nervous you've been the night before the first day of filming something? I don't mean like a sequence, I mean the actual project.
Probably Mission Impossible 3. I'd never made a film in Hollywood before, and I'd never met Tom Cruise. I didn't meet Tom until that first day. And I'd only got my dialogue like the night before, and it was like a 2-page monologue about the rabbit's foot. And I wasn't in a great place, let's just say that, and I turned up to set kind of quaking in my boots.
But yet you got through it and you managed to make a whole bunch of more movies.
I know, right? 20 years, man, boy.
What is something about the entertainment industry that you wish more people knew?
That's a very hard question. The pay isn't always great. People just assume that as soon as you become like a sort of a known quantity, that you must live in a gold mansion. But a lot of people work for not much, you know. Not me, obviously. I charge a fortune.
It's really something that I think a lot of people have started shining a light on it, but it's really true that if you're just an everyday actor trying to make your career, like, and you're on screen but you're not one of the major players, you are not making money. Like, you're making enough to pay things, but you're not like retiring on that.
Well, that's what the strike was about a lot at the time, because in the days of just network television, you'd do a show and then you'd be paid residuals, that'd be part of your deal. But when streaming happened, there was no model for that, because streaming, they don't have to tell you how many times the show is watched, and so they weren't paying actors the way that networks paid actors. And that's difficult. If you're an actor who works a lot, but you're not getting residual paychecks, it could be tough, you know. So I think that's why the actors all down-tooled and AI. There were a lot of reasons for the strike, but that was one of them.
I am curious, what are we doing with the fan questions? Because I'm about to open it up. Is there like a microphone? Is it? Oh, it's there. Perfect. If you want to start getting in line, I was going to ask another question or two. If you could go back in time and do one more day on any project, what would you love to spend one more day on?
Oh man, I would love to go back to Star Trek Beyond, because that was such a fun shoot, and not to bring things down, but that was the last time I got to work with Anton Yelchin, and I loved Anton very much. So, you know, just to go back, you know, to spend a bit of time with that crazy kid again, that would have been fun.
My last thing, and then I'm going to open it up to you guys. Everyone knows the big things that you were involved with, but you've worked on so many other projects that didn't get, are lesser known. What's something that you would love, what's something you wish more people had seen?
I did a film called Hector and the Search for Happiness, which is about a psychiatrist who goes around the world to try and find the meaning of happiness. And I had such a lovely time filming that. We went all over the world. I think it's a very sweet movie. And it has a resonance, I think, emotionally. A lot of people I've spoken to about it, it has some meaning for them, because it's all about exactly what happiness is and our sort of desperation to achieve it as if it's an end. And in actual fact, it's just part of a continuum which also contains fear and sadness and all the negative emotions, you know. So if you haven't seen Hector and the Search for Happiness and you're bored, give it a look.
And enough of my talking, we got questions.
Hey Simon.
Hi.
And this is for funsies. Do you think Sean would have had an easier time surviving the zombie apocalypse if he had Buck with him to give him advice, pointers.
Buck.
Yeah.
Buck the Weasel. Absolutely.
Always listen to Buck.
Always listen to Buck. You're going to make short shrift of those dead bastards. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
How did you get involved with Sigourney Weaver for Paul? Or how did you get involved in that project?
I wish I was involved with Sigourney Weaver. I had a huge crush on her when I was younger. I used to write poetry about her. I told her about that as well. We just shot for the moon, you know. When Nick and I were writing Paul, we just thought, wouldn't it be amazing if we got Sigourney to be in this movie, you know? And she read the script and she loved it, and we had the best time with her. She was so much fun. She gave Blind Dana had to say the line, "Get away from her, you bitch," to Sigourney, and Blind was like, "I don't know how to say this," and Sigourney literally went, "It's like this," and she did it for me, and Nick and I were just like, you know. She's wonderful, such a good sport, and a beautiful human being.
I just realized there's 2 other lines. I apologize for not realizing it. So let's jump over there.
Thank you.
Oh,
Hi, Sam.
hi.
So I know there was some rumors a little while ago about a Star Trek film written by Quentin Tarantino, and that you know, had hands on the script, and I was just kind of
Wow, good to see his lines. That's crazy.
That was what we call in the business batshit crazy. It was everything you would expect a Quentin Tarantino Star Trek script to be.
I gotta pause. Did you actually read it?
I didn't read it, but it was described to me.
Oh, so someone told you the whole thing?
Yeah, Lindsay, our producer, and JJ Abrams had read it as well. That would have been amazing. I think it would have been such an incredible sort of curio to see Star Trek through his lens. I don't know how it would have gone over with the fans, but it certainly would have been an interesting thing. I'm hoping now that David Ellison is now high up at Paramount, now the merger's happened, and David's always been a big supporter of the Kelvin timeline, so who knows, maybe we'll get to make another one.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, for people that don't realize, Paramount was bought by David Ellison and he owns Skydance. Skydance is the producer of all Star Trek movies, and he loves sci-fi. And it'll be very interesting what the next year holds in terms of what they're going to do. We're jumping over here.
Hi, my name's Diana, and I'm a space fan. I just wanted to ask, I loved the show at the time because it was a group of pop culture nerds like me and my friends, all my same age, and that they were able to create something so brilliant and different at the time. Do you think it's possible for a group of creatives to come together and create something that would have that much exposure, or do you think that was lightning in a bottle?
Yeah, it was a particular time. It was pre-digital. In the UK, we only had 4 channels then. I mean, Sky was just starting to come up. The kind of edgier stuff now gets pushed into the outer rim of creativity.
I like how you used
Outer rim, get it? Star Wars. So I don't know. I'd like to think so. I mean, you could argue that now is a really great time. You know, there's so many different sort of platforms. There's so much creativity out there. It's just the people that make the stuff have to take risks. That's all. And the industry is very risk averse. That's why everything now is sequel, prequel. You know, sequel to the prequel, prequel to the sequel. Because people trust what they know, and that's part of the problem. Is the people in charge, and part of the problem is the audience, who are not going to see stuff which is original and new, you know. So I don't know what the answer to that is.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's impressive.
Right here.
Hi, Simon and Adam.
Hi.
Hi, I'd like to start by saying, can I get any cunts a drink?
Wow! You said that word. That word is not as bad in the UK, by the way. Here it seems to be like terrible.
Oh, no, it's a bad word in the States.
Yeah, really bad.
Real, yeah.
So, Shaun of the Dead
You
is,
silly cunts.
Shaun of the Dead is literally the second DVD I've ever bought.
Wow.
And I played like to know, is that the most fun you've had filming on a set, or is it more like I get Paul to more fun, or how to how to alienate your friends?
Yeah, I mean, you try and have the best time you can on every film. Shaun of the Dead was a lot of fun. It was also really hard work because we had a lot of work to do in a short space of time. Sometimes it was exhausting making that movie. But I try and have as much fun as I can. I try and enjoy my job. You know, we're basically playing. That's what we're doing when we're making a film, you know? And I can't think of a film where I haven't had enormous... Hot Fuzz was great fun because Nick and I were just running around dressed as cops, firing 2 guns whilst shouting out.
Chasing the goose.
Chasing the swan, not a goose. But yeah, I think Shaun is up there because it was our first movie. So, you know, the idea that we were being allowed to do that was fun in itself.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, we're over here.
Hey, I'm Brian.
Hey, Brian.
I just wanted to. You sort of stole my question already. Hector in Search of Happiness is probably one of my favorite movies. My girlfriend always makes fun of me because it makes me cry. I just wondered maybe you could talk a little bit more about that and how that project came about.
Yeah, it was a director called Peter Chelson who made a number of films which I really liked, Hear My Song and Funny Bones. And he just sort of called me and asked me to make this film with him. And we went to, we shot some of it in Vancouver, we shot in Johannesburg in South Africa, we shot in China, in Tibet, Austria, we went all over the world. And it was and the cast is amazing. It's Tony Collette and Jean Reno and Stellan Skarsgård and Rosamund Pike. It was a real treat. I met Jean Reno, who I loved from The Professional. And my daughter's name is Matilda. And I introduced, she was 2, and I said to Jean, hey, John, this is my daughter, her name's Matilda. And he went, Matilda. And I had another one of those Sigourney Weaver moments when I just saw one of my favorite actors saying one of my favorite lines. It was a wonderful shoot. I had a great, great time. And I'd work with Peter again in a heartbeat.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hi, Simon.
Hi.
It's so loud.
That's good, project, it's nice.
I'm a theater person, don't tell me that. I'm Freddie. Edgar Wright is one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. Hot Fuzz is one of my favorite movies of all time. I know you've collaborated with him on a whole bunch of projects, and I was wondering, of the ones that you haven't been in, do you have a favorite Edgar Wright project?
I think probably Baby Driver. Woo! I think the artistry in that film is pure Edgar, you know, the way that he choreographs. He's always been fascinated with diegetic sound, you know, so like the sound of the music that's being played in the moment, not on the soundtrack, but, you know, and he does that. So that's what the scene in Shaun of the Dead when we beat up the zombie to Don't Stop Me Now, that was the kind of the genesis of that idea that he had. He did a music video to a track by Min Royale, which was basically the kind of Baby Driver setup. It was a getaway driver who was using a song to time the robbery. So I think Baby Driver, yeah, just because it's like, it showcases his genius, I think.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
In the middle.
Hi, my name's Augie. You signed my popcorn bucket.
I remember you, Augie, yes. You dressed well.
Yeah, but I was just wondering, out of the movies you've been in, which is your favorite to watch? Like that you just think is a really good movie?
I love The World's End, just because it's like...
That's my favorite.
Okay. It's a very personal film for me. I'd been sober for 2 years when we made that movie, and a lot of Gary King's more sort of, you know, chaotic energy was me, and it was very personal, you know. And I loved being the chaotic one. Usually I'm the straight one and Nick's the chaotic one, and we switched it for The World's End. And playing Gary was so much fun because he's such an asshole. It was just licensed to be an asshole, if I could say that. So yeah, I guess that one. And I love the fights in it. The fight at the Beehive pub which is set to 20 Seconds to Comply by Silver Bullet, is just brilliant. I love it. And that was Brad Allen, God rest him, who was one of Jackie Chan's stunt guys. He was our stunt coordinator. And that was such a beautiful piece. They worked it all out before with their team, and then we learned the choreography. And standing back from that as an observer, it's just great. So to see that is always fun.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Ollie.
Over there.
Hi there, Mr. Pegg. My name is John.
Hi.
I have a question about Land of the Dead.
Yeah.
I know you cameoed in it. I'm just wondering, how did that come up between you and George A. Romero?
Well, George was a big fan and supporter of Shaun of the Dead. He was the one that we were most eager to please because Shaun of the Dead often gets referred to as a parody. It's not a parody, it's a zombie film. If it's a parody of anything, it's of romantic comedies, you know? But everything about the zombie mythology in the film is very serious. We never make fun of the zombies, you know, you see them in absurd situations like when the one is pinned to the tree. But generally speaking, the threat in Shaun of the Dead had to be consistent with George's, you know, sort of universe. And when he watched it and liked it was such a joyful moment for Edgar and I. And Greg Nicotero, who you'll know from executive producing and directing on The Walking Dead, longtime collaborator with Quentin Tarantino, one of the best special makeup effects artists in the business. He said to George, why don't we put Simon and Edgar in Land of the Dead? Well, I think George was asked, or Greg was asked, and it just sort of happened. We manifested it. So we wound up as two zombies working with George, which was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And over here.
Hi, Simon.
Hi.
That's fun. My name's Andrew, and my question is in celebration of the 20th anniversary of the revival of Doctor Who.
Yes.
Way back in the day, we did an episode and season 1 of the revival. I'm wondering if you have any memories of working with Chris Eccleston and Billy Piper, and with Billy Piper coming back to the show, would you want to come back on Doctor Who again and work alongside her again?
Well, I love Billy. She's so fantastic. We had a really good time shooting Doctor Who. That was, you know, that was before. Obviously, it came back with a vengeance, but at the time it was just about, oh, we're making Doctor Who again. No one had seen Doctor Who for quite a long time, and you know, I was in Cardiff, and there were Daleks and stuff there, and it was very exciting. And Chris Eccleston, obviously, a great actor. And there was a real sense of excitement about this was a kind of new phase for Doctor Who. And I remember it being a really sort of happy and exciting time. They dyed my hair, my eyebrows, everything blonde, which was really weird. But it was fun. It was fun to play a villain in a show I'd watched since I was a kid. I was a Tom Baker guy myself. I met Tom Baker when I was 8.
Good choice.
And he signed my copy of The Talons of Wen Chang to Simon 8 from Tom Baker 888. And he gave me a jelly baby. So for me to suddenly then be in Doctor Who was a moment, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think you were right on in.
Hi, Simon.
It's the laziest costume, by the way. Anyone who dresses up as Shaun of the Dead, I love you, and I also applaud your lack of commitment to dressing up. It's a white shirt with a red tie and a bit of blood. Perfect.
I'm a huge fan. Thank you so much for being here. I did want to say dogs can look up.
Yes, they can.
I was just curious, in Shaun of the Dead, Nick has a bald spot
Yes.
on his head. Is there a story behind that never got included in the movie?
No, Nick had two bald spots in Shaun of the Dead. One was that he shaved off all his pubic hair because he wanted Ed to be constantly scratching his nuts. This is true. And then the thing in his hair was, Nick and I were watching a lot of Jackass at the time. We lived together in this flat, and we'd stay up all night smoking bifters and watching Jackass. And one of the pranks they played in Jackass was they'd shave off bits of each other's hair. And Nick just had this idea that one of Ed's friends had done that to him. It's never mentioned. We never make any reference to it whatsoever. It was just Nick being method.
Wonderful, thank you.
I That's a story I did not know.
Yeah.
Especially about the nether region.
Yeah. He was very proud of that.
Hi, Simon.
Hi.
I admire your work, especially the Ice Age movies. My question is it more fun to do voiceover or is it more fun doing live action films?
They're very different, actually. It's doing voice work is surprisingly tiring because you're channeling your whole performance into your vocal kind of range, you know. And they do film you when you're doing the voice work, so they can use your expressions as reference for the characters. But it's a really you do about 4 hours, I guess, at a time. And I love playing Buck. He's one of my favorite characters. He's just such a ball of energy. In the new film, I get to do some really fun stuff, which has been really great to record. When you do a live action film, it's a completely different process, so it's kind of hard to compare them in a way, you know. I love them both. I think I could probably prefer being on camera most because I'm vain, but the voice work stuff is fun, and I really enjoy playing Ice Age. I'm glad to hear you like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just have to ask real quick, I don't know if they've announced it, what's the new Ice Age about?
I don't think I can say, but it's about a group of animals in a time before history.
Got it. Got it.
Sorry, I didn't know they were making a new Ice Age. That shocked me.
Yeah.
Sorry. Minor spoilers for The Boys season 4. What was it like sitting inside a human body? Just curious. I'm just standing in that.
Oh God.
The great thing about the Boys season 4 for me was the first about 3 or 4 episodes I was in a coma, so I literally just had to sleep. And I would literally fall on sleep. I remember Jack and Erin Moriarty were doing a scene with Starlight and Huey in the hospital, and I fucking slept through the whole thing. I got woken up by cut, and but then getting to do that whole sequence when Hugh wakes up, and that was a lot of fun. I mean, it was gruesome and it was heartbreaking, but it was, you know, it was challenging. You want to be challenged as an actor, and that for me was a really worthwhile experience.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
In the middle.
Hi. Oh wow, it is really loud. I thought they were exaggerating. First of all, could you say hi to my girlfriend Lily? She loves your movies.
Hi Lily.
Yeah.
Is she here?
Is Lily here?
Not. She's in like Texas, which is why.
Hi Lily.
And then the question. Speaking of the swan scene from earlier, what was it like to film that scene? Was it? I'm kind of terrified of big birds. Was it chaotic?
It was okay. We had like a handler on set, and you have to be. Swans can be pretty vicious when they get annoyed. They can actually break a human arm, apparently, with their bill. But the swan we worked with, her name was Henrietta. She was very professional and didn't make any huge demands or anything like that. She was quite fun to be around, and we had to chase her as well. So she was up for that. She liked to be chased. Thank you.
I just want to let everyone know we have about 3 minutes left, so we might not get to everybody's questions.
I'll be quick. Look, there's like 3 Seans.
Oh, wow. Hello, Summit. My name is Jarrell.
Hi, Jarrell.
I just want to say I'm a huge fan of your work. Like, one of the first movie experiences I remember is Ice Age 3. I was 5 years old.
Wow.
It's still one of my favorite films. And I love the Banana Trilogy. I love Edgar Wright. He's one of my favorite directors. And as someone who is planning to be a director and a screenwriter, I'm actually working on a short film right now. What advice do you have for me and anyone else who's planning to work in movies?
I think just get out there and do it, you know, however you can, with whatever resources you can get your hands on, just do it. Don't wait for it to come to you. Be as proactive as you can. Get it on YouTube, whatever, get it seen. Do all the work, you know, because these things, they don't just land in your lap. So I think, and no matter how many times you get knocked back, get up and carry on fighting.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And by the way, this is an amazing device for making movies.
Yeah, Everyone's got one.
Yeah.
Hi, Simon.
Hi.
I'm Sean.
No shit. Oh,
My question is, you've done a lot of films with Edgar, right? And I really appreciate a lot of different genres and really different types of films. My question is, when you do another film with him, what kind of film do you do?
I'm curious about this as well.
I don't know. We might not do a comedy. You know, one of the great filmmaking duos that Edgar and I have always loved and bonded over is the Coen brothers. And when you look at a film like Raising Arizona, which is one of the funniest film comedies ever made, you'd think their next film would be something along the same lines, and it was Miller's Crossing. You know, and I feel like I kind of want to disappoint the fuck out of everybody. You know, I kind of want to make a film that isn't what's expected of us. We're not going to make another Cornetto film. It might be something completely different.
By the way, I vote for what you're talking about. I would love to see you guys do something that no one is expecting.
Yeah. So it probably will be something, you know, that doesn't please everybody. We kind of did that a little bit with The World's End. You know, we decided to make something that was darker and a bit more serious and a bit more meaningful. And I think you've always got to be, you mustn't be afraid of disappointing the people that love you. You know, you kind of have to make them love you for different reasons, I think. There you go. Thank you, Sean.
I'm going to apologize to everyone, but this is going to be our last question.
Hi, Simon.
Hi.
You're not going to believe this, but I'm also Sean.
I could see that. Even though I have I've got my up close glasses on, so my my short sight glasses not on, I can just make out a sort of like blurry red and white. That's Sean.
It's a little different than the character in the movie.
Yes.
And if you're looking for something more creative, my girlfriend is here as Nicholas Angel, which is cool.
Very cool.
My question though is, what is your personal favorite flavor of Cornetto?
My favorite Cornetto flavor is the mint choc chip. And if you guys ever get over to the UK, please buy a Cornetto. They're a lovely ice cream snack. And our chocolate as well is a little bit better than yours.
On that note, I want to remind everyone that Simon is doing autographs and signings right over there. I think it's on that wall. So if you want to see him and meet him, it's right over there. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, Simon Pegg.
Woo!